Hello all, hello again. I am Heba Khairi, curator at the Grand Egyptian Museum and CEPEG board member. It's a pleasure to be introducing my Egyptian colleague, Yasmine Afram. She is a PhD candidate at the Universitat Autónoma de Barcelona. Her paper today entitled Enriching Museum Visits, a study of interactive treasure hunts in museums showcasing ancient Egyptian artifacts. So please, Yasmin.
Thank you, Hiba. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm new to this field. I just started with Egyptology a few years ago and then museology when I decided to do my PhD. And the first question I asked myself is, how can we make museum visits more engaging and memorable for the visitors? It all started in 2017. I was not really studying Egyptology, but I have two godsons, and they wanted to visit the museum. And I told myself, okay, they are going to go, they're going to look at the museums, they're going to see a few statues, some stelas, and then what? I am actually a girl guide, and I prepare treasure hunts. So I decided in half an hour to prepare a treasure hunt with writing only the names of the most famous kings and queens of ancient Egypt that I know that they are there in the museum, and put them in codes and ask them to look for them. And we made just a quick game like that. And they enjoyed it. And then my other friends heard about it and they asked me to do the same thing for that. So it remained with me, this, and when it was time for me to do my end of the master work, I asked myself a question: what would I like to do? And I thought about myself and how I approached Egyptology. And it was through historical novels. And I said, okay, I did historical novels for my master degree, then what? When anyone who is not an Egyptologist, who would like to be close to Egyptology or the realm of ancient Egypt, the first thing they do is they go and visit museums which host ancient Egyptian artifacts. And they are all around the world. So how can we make these visits memorable? And I thought that's what I did before. And actually, I noticed that, unfortunately, because many people go to museums, they just visit the city, they want to go through museums, they just walk through it. Sometimes the museum are not made with the exhibits are not designed for the visitor's experience in mind. Sometimes it's the visitors who are running around and who don't really keep a memory out of that. So my PhD at the Universitat Autónoma de Barcelona, its topic in general is the sensory and experiential visits to museums specializing in ancient Egyptian artifacts. And a part of it is enhancing museum experience through interactive treasure hunts. It's not only treasure hunts, it's also using new technologies, but part of it is the treasure hunts, and it's the thing that I've been starting my PhD with. And the methodology that I'm using for the time being is implementing treasure hunts at the Egyptian Museum in Cairo. So the concept of the treasure hunts is decoding messages to navigate the exhibition halls, all the exhibition halls, and discover ancient Egyptian artifacts and know the history of ancient Egypt through what the museum is offering. So, as I'm a girl guide, I like this quote by Sir Robert Baden-Powell, who is the founder of the Scouts. He said that the secret of sound education is to get each pupil to learn for himself instead of instructing him by deriving knowledge into him on a stereotype system. Treasure Hunt help in doing that by creating engaging clues and challenges, and also encouraging teamwork and collaboration. So, how did I organize these treasure hunts? Through 5 steps: identifying, selecting, designing, preparing, and test and refining. So, identifying the theme and objective. So, for me, my objective for each treasure hunt that I organize, either to a group or for an individual, is to have a 90% increase in visitor engagement with the museum and a 60% improvement in the knowledge retention. Selecting the exhibit's artifacts, so I went to the museum, I got the plan, I decided on which are the main artifacts that I want to highlight through this treasure hunt. I created parcours, either if it's an individual, so it is one parcours, if it's two groups, then it is two parcours. And the parcours are with the names of the stops that we have to stop for. Then comes the design of the clues and challenges. So I look back at the parcours and I see, how can I do that? First thing is to do puzzles by taking a photo of the artifact, cutting it down, and give it to them so that they can piece it together. And once they go into the museum, they try to look for it. Where is it? And this is the start point. We start with a puzzle. And in order to move forward to the next clue, they have to do two things. They have to tell me, this artifact is from which dynasty? So in the beginning, before we start, I have to tell them the story of the dynasty. So they also have a knowledge of something, but softly. I don't give them whole information. I introduce them a little bit to something important in Egyptology. So they have to tell me which dynasty, and they have to look for information themselves. They have to read the labels or ask the guys in the museum and give me at least two information about this artifact in front of them. When they give me the information, I give them the next clue. And the clues are enigmas, short enigmas. Like, for example, find the mannequin that models the king's clothes for the mannequin of Tutankhamun. Like, for example, find the pharaoh who built the first pyramid. So they have to go and look for the statue of Djoser Onetchekret. Other clues are guiding them through the museum, like follow the direction of to reach the next clue, and they have to count the tiles. So 5 tiles south, then 55 southwest, 3 tiles south, turn left, and they arrive in front of the Sphinx of Hatshepsut. So it's a diversity of different types of clues. Then I select a few codes that I can use. It depends on the level and the age of the participants. So the one with the squares, this one, I usually use when people are already well familiar with clues. If not, we keep the Morse, the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs, because it's in the spirit of the museum, and the numbers. And I prepare a key. The Morse code, I give it to them. The numbers, they have to work for it a little bit. So I just give them 4 letters, and they have to build their alphabet out of it. And then for the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs, what I do is I ask them questions. When they ask from ancient Egypt, when they answer correctly, they receive a letter. And if there are 2 groups, after that they have to share together the letters that they have. So it's collaboration. It is not competition, it is collaboration. Once they have their codes written down, I prepare the materials and the resources. So I prepare converting the clues into codes. Okay, let's play a little bit here. So Hakan can tell me what's written there, all the first word. Let's make it easier and give you the clues, the codes. So what's the first word here? Check. Thank you. So the first word is check. Check the floor with a nice design. This was the first clue. This is another clue. This is with the Morse code. So who can try to identify the first word? find. It's find the, okay. And this is another one with the numbers. So who can find the first word? Yes, ask. Thank you. So it's not complicated. It's quite easy. So here you see a photo of the puzzle. They sat in the garden of the museum with the puzzle and they tried to collect it. And then the next photo so this is they're trying to do the puzzle before entering the museum, because once they answer, they have to look for the puzzle. And the first puzzle was the normal stela, the normal palette, and the other team had the Serech of Megitnith. And here you see them inside the museum trying to look for the clues. Test and refine. So what we did is that we went to the museum with a group of volunteers from my school activities, and we went through the halls. We selected the material with the map, and we tested the game. We played the game so that when they are with the girls, they can lead them because they know what is the next step. Treasure hunts actually increase engagement and participation, improve knowledge retention, and have a positive feedback from the participant, as has been shown by the survey that I did there. I actually conducted until now 7 treasure hunts in the Egyptian Museum in Cairo for student age group 9 to 19. The groups were from 2 to 70 at the same time. And then I conducted 2 treasure hunts for adults above 35 years. We don't say more than that, so it is above 35 years. One was for an individual who was a foreigner, and the other one was a group of Egyptians of 5 persons. These are 2 videos, short videos, that can show you how people are collecting the information and putting them on the clue for the ancient Egyptian one. And the other one is them trying to find on the map where the location of the items are. So it is also making them find their way, navigate their way through the museum. You can use the map or you can choose the map. It depends on what you want. Okay, the survey that I mentioned, I have asked a few questions to see the reaction. So what was the treasure hunt? Was the treasure hunt too long? And according to one of them, it was strongly agree that, somehow agree that it was too long. 4 said that they were neutral. 4 said somewhat disagree that it was too long, and 1 said strongly disagree that it was too long. Then was the treasure hunt too easy or too difficult? And the majority decided that it was just right. These are some comments of what I collected when I asked what was the most interesting thing you learned during the treasure hunt. So one has, and these are anonymous, so I don't know who said what. So more about the pharaohs, and it felt like I belonged to this. I copied it as it was. So I was amazed by how big the museum is and how many pieces we discovered there with a smiley face. All the information about the ancient Egyptian, working in teams, and cooperation. Then I also received these a little bit long ones. I love the treasure hunt takes you through the most important areas of the museum and highlight the most precious pieces so that you could appreciate them truly while having fun. And this was an adult reward that it gives me the chance to know more about very important information and the map of the museum. I found it very good to learn more about the museum. And the last one was learning about the glorious history through play is a lot of fun. Then I asked about, did the treasure hunt help you enjoy your visit to the museum? And the majority said strongly agree, with 8.3% somewhat agree. How engaging did you find the museum hunt? The majority, 91 out of 0.7, and these were 12 responses, said very engaging. Also from 12 responses, how would you rate your overall experience in the treasure hunt? And the majority said excellent, 91% said excellent, and 8.3% said good. The challenges. Okay, it's not all that nice and easy. From the groups that I also had families. When it comes to families, if the kids have a different age, it doesn't work. They got annoyed quickly, they don't want to play, and we cut it short. If it's a group of friends, it works really well. It's very engaging. So with families, it might not really work. We need to find a solution to that. Another thing is to make it for kids is something, to make it for adults is something else. So you need to balance. Kids prefer more clues. Adults prefer to learn more about the artifacts. So sometimes I don't always give them the codes. We play with the codes, but more enigmas asked than try to decipher the codes. So there is a balance that needs to be found. Lesson learned is try to find the balance according to the person in front of you and know when to stop. They don't have to finish it. It's also nice to give a time to have a free visit at the museum afterwards and to be there to answer any questions they have. So, yes, it is easy to implement them in your museums. You need to identify the key exhibits and artifacts that you want to highlight through it. It doesn't have to be only one treasure hunt. You can make more than one according to the persons, according to the objective that you have. You can make it educational, you can make it fun, you can make it to highlight. For example, this week we want to highlight women, or we would like to highlight beauty, or we would like to highlight the funerary equipment. So you decide whatever you want to focus on. So identify your key exhibits and artifacts. You design engaging clues and challenges, and you need to train the staff and volunteers. You can really use volunteers in the museums for these games. They would be really willing to help. These are some testimonials that I received we had a camp, and part of the camp was to go to the museum and to do the treasure hunt. So the first 4 are participants, girls who participated in it. My experience doing the treasure hunt at the museum camp was just incomparable. Exploring the history of my country in such a unique and engaging way will forever remain a core memory for me. This was Hannah Islam. Couldn't be happier after participating in the treasure hunt game, such an exciting and amazing game to play. I feel like I have traveled and was actually present during the pharaonic era. We'll never forget the memories, keeping it forever. This was Judy Ramrawi. This experience, the treasure hunt, was super great. I learned patience, teamwork, and to work under pressure. In addition, I learned a lot of information concerning ancient Egypt and our ancestors. A big thanks to those who planified and realized it. This was Shahinaz Muhammad. The treasure hunt game was truly extraordinary and exceptional. It was perfectly prepared with numerous questions about Egyptian history, including secret codes like Morse code. We were all deeply engaged and excited as we explored every aspect of Egyptian museum. It was definitely one of a kind experience, leaving us with many memorable moments. This was Farah Sami, and this was one of the team leaders who organized it with me. So it was a great experience overall. I mostly loved the fact that the girls were learning historical facts and information through different puzzles and codes. It made it more interesting and encouraging. They were intrigued to uncover all the codes. Also, the hunt pushed them to work together in cooperation, and each one had a chance to try and play till the very end. This was Malak Wael. This was the foreigner who was visiting Egypt, who did the treasure hunt with me individually. I had an amazing time participating with Yasmine in the treasure hunt at the Egyptian Museum. It was both educational and fun, highlighting the most fascinating aspects and artifacts of the museum and allowing to appreciate Egypt history at the same time. And the last one was from an adult Egyptian. I would undoubtedly claim that the treasure hunt at the Egyptian Museum is the most amazing visit I have ever done to this overwhelming building. Following different clues and solving puzzles allowed us to explore masterpieces and discover hidden gems in a fun and unforgettable way. In conclusion, unlocking the potential of interactive treasure hunts. The treasure hunt can enhance museum experience, increase engagement and learning, easy to implement and adapt. By the way, I haven't invented anything. Many of your museums already apply the treasure hunt. I know that the Louvre does, but not in the Egyptian, but in the whole museum. Also, the British Museum does it, the Metropolitan Museum does it. Jennifer told me that they have 2 treasure hunts in the Penn Museum too. And Katalin told me that in the Budapest Museum they also have it. I personally played a treasure hunt at the GEM, the Grand Egyptian Museum, and there it is a bit different because they use QR codes. So you take your phone, you look for the QR code, you have the question, and you look for the next clue. My final thoughts, I would like to thank the CPEG for Tina, Daniela, Esther, and Isabel for inviting me here. I would like to thank my professor, Dr. Josep Cervello, the tutor for my PhD, Dr. Ali Abdel Halim, who is the director of the Egyptian Museum and the supervisor of my thesis, for allowing me to do the treasure hunt at his museum, as well as Ms. Shadia and Ms. Munira from the didactic and the educational department of the Egyptian Museum in Cairo. And I would also like to thank my school for giving me the chance to apply the treasure hunt. Thank you all, and do you have any questions?
When we spoke yesterday, I was unaware of this. Our museum does have a trail, not a treasure hunt as such, and that we find works really well with families. It's just 2 A4 sides. It's see what you can find, and at the end of it, everyone gets a certificate and a sticker if they can complete it. And we find the adults in particular get really engaged with their own children with this particular thing. And what I'll do is I'll actually send you what we've got at the moment, because it changes about every 6 months. And the people who actually do it are on the front line, they're front of house staff, so they actually engage with the kids before they decide what to do. But I will send you that.
Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. That was really interesting. I don't work in or with the education department. I think they have something along those lines, something of the kind. I'm not sure if it's actually the treasure hunt approach, but I'm gonna tell them about this. I took a picture or two. What I have limited experience guiding as a curator, guiding people in the Museo Egizio, but I found that with children, it is useful to get them active. They get bored easily, and one thing, for what it's worth, I mean, and that I found works is pointing out certain hieroglyphs. Hieroglyphs are recognizable; they're interesting, and this you read T, this you read F. I did it once, but it just not by design. It just needed to show the little girl something, and she kept locating these glyphs and inscriptions. She was looking for them, and that kept her alert and interested throughout the tour. I'm not saying I'm any good at guiding children. I'm not actually, but in that case, it worked for whatever it's worth. I mean, inscriptions, hieroglyphs work great for that.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. That was really interesting. I enjoyed it also. Just out of curiosity, I know you said that people don't have to sort of finish the entire treasure hunt, but how long would it take on average if someone did take the whole time?
The whole time it's going to take 3 hours in the Egyptian Museum,
Wow,
which is
that is a long time.
2 floors, a big one.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge museum.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, great. That's good to know. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just out of curiosity, the tours, the trails in the Cairo Museum, do they rely on having sort of someone trained to help people through it, or are they also designed to be self-governing,
Okay,
self-running?
the one in the gem itself, with the QR code, they give you the map and the QR code and you do it. I don't want to talk about because I didn't do it, but the one that I designed, which you can adapt whatever you want, we have someone follow them to give them the clues, because we don't want to hide the clues. We don't want to put anything in the museum. So it's the person who delivers the clues. So you have to tell us the dynasty and 2 information you found from the artifacts. So you look for the information. When you look for the information, it remains more in your mind. When you say it, it remains even more. And then you have the right to take the next clue. So you have someone to follow them.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
No more questions? Okay, thank you so much, Yasmine, for this
Thank you.
interesting topic. Wishing you all the good luck, inshallah, within your PhD.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.